book nerds!
Hello, bookish beauties!
It's Sarah Ella!
And Denise Dressbling.
And we have a
brand new clap tag!
Since I'm Team Jacob
and I'm Team Edward,
we've come up with a fun way to continue
the classic Twilight debate.
This is the Team Jacob
versus Team Edward tag.
Why am I Team Jacob, you ask? There are so many reasons that Jacob is better than Edward. First of all, Edward is a sparkly dead guy. Real men don't sparkle. Jacob is alive. He does not kill humans. He only kills vampires who kill humans. And I know that the Cullens are like vegetarians, but still, I mean, which would you rather have in your house? A werewolf who is going to protect you from, like, the bloodsuckers? Or would you rather have a vampire in your house who might just decide to kill you even if he doesn't want to? Bella would never have had to change for Jacob. She could have stayed human and still saw all of her family and everybody that she loved, and she would never be a risk to anybody if she stayed with Jacob. Whereas being with Edward and becoming a vampire, she becomes a risk to everyone that she loves. Another reason I'm Team Jacob is because Jacob is just way cuter. What can I say? Jacob never broke Bella's heart. He was always there for her when she needed him until she, ditched him, and then he was still there for her when she needed him, even when she was getting ready to turn into a vampire. I don't know, you guys. I think it's a pretty easy decision to decide which team you should be on.
I have always been Team Edward. Okay, the sparkly thing, you know what? Glitter is pretty. Who doesn't want some extra bling in their life? Seriously? Let's not forget that if werewolves get even mad, they explode into a wolf and oops, I'm sorry, Emily. Oh, now you've got hideous, ugly scars. Oh, maybe you shouldn't hang out with werewolves. Oh, and what happens if you hang out with vampires? You become beautiful. Super strength, super speed. Some of them have super awesome powers. They live forever without aging. Every woman's dream come true. Hello. The whole Bella wouldn't have to change argument? Let's see. Stay clumsy, awkward teenager girl, get old, and have a pet forever, or become even more gorgeous, gain super strength and super speed, and become ultra durable. Never have to worry about silly Van squishing you again, and live forever with a super awesome vampire family who doesn't regularly explode their clothing. And in the end, she did get to keep her whole family, so... Wait a minute. What do you mean cuter? You do realize we're talking about the book Edward and Jacob, right? He was only described as a god. I'm pretty sure that's cuter than a fluffy little doggy any day. Jacob was not always there when she needed him. He totally ditched her. Let's not forget that he made her kiss him. Hello? Sexual assault much? And when Edward left, he only did it to protect her, and he totally came back anyway. You're right, Sarah, it is an easy decision. Obviously, Team Edward is the only choice.
Since Jacob was hot, not only with looks, but because he was literally hot, I'm going to pick Anna Burning for my book set Somewhere Hot. Technically, this isn't a book set in the desert or a hot place. I was really trying to think of something set in Phoenix or in the desert somewhere, and I just couldn't come up with anything in my brain that fit that description. But Anna Burning is about a girl who basically controls the element of fire, and a lot of fires are caused in this book, so that makes it really hot where she is, so I'm going to pick Anna Burning. It's one of my favorites of all time. It is the second book of Bayern by Shannon Hale, and it is a super great story about a girl who has this awesome power that she can control fire, and she has to learn how to use it and accept who she is, just like Jacob has to accept who he is as a werewolf, and once he accepts that this is what he is and this is what he's good at, then it becomes something good for everyone because he saves everybody from vampires, and Anna also saves people in this book. So there you go.
Edward might have had cold skin, but I'm pretty sure his heart was warm. If it beat. I pick Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. This book takes place on February 12th, and February 12th, and February 12th, and February 12th repeats 7 times. And February is cold. We never really find out where they are in the country, but there's snow and it's cold.
When Jacob's a werewolf, he is nice and cuddly and he has lots of fur. So I'm picking a book with fur on it. Now this sounds like it would be a really, really hard book to find, and it totally was, but then when I found it, I was like, oh my goodness, that's perfect, and it's totally gonna win. So I'm going to go with A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This book isn't even out yet, but I can pick it because we're just going with a book cover, so we technically didn't have to have read the book yet. Now, if you look at the cover, she's got like kind of like a fur collary thing on, and this book is like Sarah J. Maas's take or twist on Beauty and the Beast, and Beauty and the Beast is my absolute all-time favorite fairy tale, which I'm sure that you guys have heard me say like a million times, so I so can't wait for this book to come out. The book cover is gorgeous. It totally screams Beauty and the Beast, and Sarah J. Maas is awesome. I mean, you guys have all read the Throne of Glass series, right? Need I say more?
Edward is super gorgeously sparkly, especially in the sun, and so is the cover of Matched. I don't know how much this is going to show through on camera, but the cover and the inside couple pages are on this gorgeous, shimmery, sparkly paper. This was actually the reason that I picked up this book to begin with, because the cover is just gorgeous. And the bubbly part is also kind of like shimmery and sparkly, shiny. This was a series that I actually waited for it to come out on paperback just because the paperback covers were actually more gorgeous than the hardback covers, which doesn't always happen.
I'm going to go with A Book Set on the Beach, since Jacob was always by the beach, and the beach is awesome. I'm from California, so as much as I love the forest, I'm sorry, the beach is going to win, and I'm going to pick Delirium by Lauren Oliver. This is one of my favorite series. I love this book, and they're in Maine, and they're always by the beach. If I remember correctly, the first time that Lena goes to meet Alex is on the beach. There's just a lot of beach kind of stuff, and they're right by the beach in this book. And Delirium is a story all about how love is illegal. You're not allowed to have the emotion of love, and it gets taken away. They have this injection or whatever they do to you to get that emotion out of you. Bella is constantly fighting her emotions for Jacob. What I say is, just let yourself love the boy, Bella. He is much better for you than Edward. Just like Lena in the book Delirium realizes that loving Alex is much better, even if it's going against society. Loving is much better than not loving. So, Bella, just let yourself admit it that you love Jacob more than Edward.
I guess beaches are nice and all, but forests are a lot more interesting. Especially when you're in the darkest part of the forest. This book has been all around YouTube. I'm sure you guys have probably heard about it, but it is a fairy tale style book in which there is a strange boy with pointy ears in a glass coffin asleep in the darkest part of the forest. Alrighty, it is super fun and I'm really enjoying it. And this forest is a place where I'm looking forward to spending more time and finding out what is up with dude in the coffin.
Since Jacob never gets older or really ages very much once he gets to a certain point, I'm going to go with a book that never gets old, and that's going to be the Harry Potter series. Okay, it's a series, not just one book. The truth is, whether you were 12 years old when you read it, and whether you're 30 or 40 or however old you are now, you have to admit that Harry Potter never gets old. I read that series like 10 years ago for the first time. I am going to be 30 years old in 2 months, and I still love that series. It's never going to get old. I'm probably always going to go back and reread it whenever I need my Harry Potter fix. So there you go. That is a series that will never get old, just like Jacob is never going to get old.
Jacob might not get older, but Edward's not getting older either. He has already been around forever, and he'll be around forever and ever on until the eternity. A book that's been around forever and I love is A Little Princess. This book contains my very favorite literary character, Sarah Crewe, and she is a little girl who's gone off to live in a boarding school while her father travels, but unfortunately her father dies and she is left penniless. She is taken from her wealthy world, forced to be a servant and live in this horrible attic in awful conditions, but despite that, she remains kind and selfless, and she doesn't let anything about her circumstance get her down, which is why I love her so much. She is just an incredible character. So, even though this book has been around since 2012 edition, it doesn't say the original copyright date. It's been around for a while. It'll probably be around for ever and ever. Maybe even as long as Edward.
Just like with Jacob, I kind of imprinted on him, and he is somebody that I just couldn't help but love. I was not forced to love him or anything like that, but Jacob is just one of those characters that you have no choice. You have to love him. I mean, what is there not to love about this boy? Just like Warner. I'm so sure you guys are all sick of hearing me talk about Warner from the Shatter Me series, and I always hold up Unravel Me because it is my favorite book in the series. Warner is somebody I had no choice but to love him. Obviously, like, if you've only ever read the first book or if you've just started the series, you are going to be like my sister and you are going to think that I am crazy for loving Warner. Just wait. You will not be able to resist him. There is no way by the end of the series. If by the end of the series you do not love Warner, we can still be friends, but maybe not as good of friends as we were before. So just like Warner, who seems kind of like unlovable at the beginning, and okay, well, he's just kind of this other character over here, and he's not that big of a deal. Just like in the beginning of the Twilight series, Jacob's just kind of over here, and there's not much happening with him. Then we get to know that Jacob is one of the most important, if not the most important character in the Twilight series, just as Warner is basically the only reason I continued to read the Shatter Me books.
Not only has Edward been around forever and will be around forever, I will love him forever, just like Bella will. And a book that I will love absolutely forever is The Fault in Our Stars. I adore this book, and I don't think it's ever going to get old because it's really not so much about the plot, but about the characters and the character's voice. And when you love a character, you'll just keep on loving them and loving them and loving them. And more than any other book, this book makes me laugh and cry, and every page when I open it and read it, it's just like rays of sunshine pouring down on me from its pages. Which I guess would make me sparkle if I was a vampire.
If I had to choose between jumping off a high cliff into churning, deadly, chopping waves and facing the Volturi, a group of deadly vampires who's either going to have me for lunch or turn me into one of them so they can use me for whatever my special ability is, I'm going to take on the water. I have a chance of surviving and still being human with the water, whereas with the Volturi, the only chance I have is no chance at all. If it's a choice between being lunch and being basically their slave to hurt people, neither of those sound like very good choices to me. I'm going to be jumping off that cliff into the water, and Edward, you weren't there. Jacob pulled Bella out of the water. Once again, I have proven why Jacob is the better choice.
As much of a rush as it would be to fight the Volturi and win, I think I'd actually have to go cliff diving on this one. Seems like a much bigger rush of adrenaline, and a lot more fun overall, a lot less chance for death, although I would have to say I would do it as a vampire because, let's face it, humans getting tossed around in freezing cold water with rocks and boulders, and that's just not fun. Although, Bella and Edward did do a pretty good job kicking Volturi butt. I guess if the Volturi were chasing me, I would rather turn around and fight them than jump off a cliff to avoid them.
If I have to choose between the super fast car and a motorcycle, I'm going to choose the motorcycle because the motorcycle is cheaper to run, it needs less gas, and if Jacob's on the motorcycle, then if I'm sitting behind him, my arms are around him, and that is way better than being all the way on the passenger side next to freezing cold Edward. I mean, if you're with Edward, you need that warm car because he's freezing, but with Jacob, even if it was snowing outside, If he's on the super fast motorcycle with you, he's gonna keep you warm, so it doesn't really matter.
Kind of surprised that the vampires are the ones that drive in the cars and the wolves have the bikes, because the vampires are a lot more durable in the end. Even though the wolves have, like, wolfy healing or whatever, vampires are a lot more indestructible, and let's face it, motorcycles are a bit more dangerous. I would definitely stick with the fast car, though. I really don't like the whole, like, wind in my hair, messing up my hair thing. If it's raining, I mean, ugh, who wants to deal with that? Plus it's cold, you can't really listen to music, you can't really talk. At least in the car you could hold hands and, like, snuggle.
Would I rather be a werewolf or a vampire? I think the choice is obvious. If I'm a werewolf, I am basically the hero of the story and I am killing the bad guys. And I'm alive and I'm human and I get to have this super cool tattoo and be part of, like, the wolf pack. If I'm a vampire, I am just living on and on and on and on and on forever as a dead person, and I have the inclination to, like, kill people. Even though the Cullens are vegetarians, they still have to work to restrain themselves from killing the people they love, and I would hate that. I would hate constantly having to battle whether or not I was going to hurt the people I love. Whereas with the werewolves, they're just awesome, normal guys who save the rest of Forks from vampires. So again, the choice is obvious.
Is this even a question? Maybe it's because I'm not a dog person. If the option were between vampires and cats, I might have to consider it, but I would not want to be a wolf or anything even really close to a dog. All that hair and the exploding clothing thing and the whole, like, awkward nakedness thing. Who wants to deal with that? Sure, vampires might be a little bit cold, but not to other vampires. They're virtually indestructible. They live forever, they're beautiful. Yeah, did I mention super strength, super speed, and superpowers? How is this even a question? Okay, so what? The whole blood-sucking thing might be a little bit gross, but the wolves also tear animals into pieces and eat them raw. I'm pretty sure I'd rather just drink blood.
What do you think? Who won the Twilight battle?
And tell us what team you're on in the comments down below.
We tag Sarah over at Freedom Booktube because I know she loves the Twilight series, and I thought, Sarah, you are the perfect person to tag.
We also came up with a few teams that we'd like to see tackle this tag together if possible. Katie Tastic and Christine from Pulling Bananas Books, because they're both awesome and I think that they're roommates, or at least they're in videos together all the time. And two awesome ladies that are an active part of the Tuesday Talks group, Elizabeth Bookbabble and Bookworms Betty. Anyone else that's Team Edward or Team Jacob, grab a friend and clap it up.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you liked this tag. Until next time, happy reading.
Bye! This was a super fun tag, but I have to say, in a fight between Edward and Jacob, there is no way Jacob is coming out alive.
Are you kidding? The wolf pack was created to kill the cold ones. Hello, it's obvious Jacob would be the victor. Besides, like I said, real men don't sparkle.
And real men turn into wolves? I don't think so. Edward is faster, has sharper teeth, and he heals instantly.
Who says Edward is faster? The wolves are just as fast. Otherwise, they could never capture vampires. Besides, Jacob is Bella's actual age. And it makes sense for Jacob to have sharp teeth as a wolf, but a dude biting people is just gross. And so what if he heals instantly? Scars are super hot.
Wolves might be as fast as normal vampires, but don't forget, Edward is faster than all the other vampires. And he looks like he's Bella's age. Immaturity is not a virtue. Some people like the biting thing.
In the end, Edward is a creepy dude who watches Bella in her sleep.
Yeah, the stalking thing. Psh, whatever.
And then he says he can't be with her, but then he stalks her and stares at her all the time. Bella's dad had every right not to like Edward, but he approves of Jacob. So I think Jacob comes out on top in the end.